Hello guys, hello. Hope you're happy to see me because I sure am happy to see you again. I'm sure what you saw that I made must have been quite a thing to go through, as one might call it. Alright, so what am I presenting to you today now? Huh? Well, as the title of this video might suggest, I am presenting you something regarding my CAS project. In this case, talking about a new meeting, a meeting unheard of until the making of this video. Which is why this video came after the first one. In this video, I will talk to you about what it is that I have gone through in my third CAS meeting, if I have understood that correctly. Alright, so you see, in my third CAS meeting, I met with, I guess one could say, one of my CAS supervisors. And basically she gave me some feedback, which we went through together. We discussed a bit what it is that I did for CAS, including the video before this one, of course. Well, after we discussed what it is that I did for CAS, she asked me a series of questions. A series of questions which obviously, well, maybe not obviously, but well, it's not easy to understand that she asked me a couple of questions and I had to answer them. It was my objective in that meeting to answer those questions. And with question number one being what I think that CAS could do better in school. So to speak, how the whole creativity, activity and service project could be better managed or handled. But of course, the thing is, given how badly I managed my time, of course, my main interactions with the CAS project outside of the activities that I made for it are the meetings. So the meetings are, so to speak, the part where you get to interact with CAS, or so to speak, with the organization that handles CAS. And well, let's just say my previous meetings regarding CAS, as you saw in the first video, weren't very eventful, meaning that I had nothing to show for it, which is bad because, well, I want to answer the question, what could CAS do better? Thing is, I cannot say what CAS could do better because of my own actions. And so, given my own actions, I did not, so to speak, interact with CAS or with the organization that made CAS, because I had nothing to show up with on those meetings, which leaves me at kind of a bad spot to answer this question. And what can I say that, what will make CAS better at helping me handle time management? No, CAS kind of does not work that way. And because from what I've understood, even in the activity part, one's supposed to do some sort of physical activity and not like connectivity that's somehow more uh, what, mentally challenging, I guess. It's a way of describing it, because I guess that's kind of what time management issues are, mentally challenging. It's not like time is an actual being that we can just grab onto and tackle and, so to speak, manage that way. Time, time isn't something we can't control. We can. Time is not something we can control. Apologies. So yes, I don't see myself very suited to answer this question, because I recognize that the way I dealt with CAS in general was not great, which leads up to me not being able to really be able to say what I think CAS could do better. Yeah. Alright, now on to the second question. What's the most important thing that I have learned? That's a good question. What's the most important thing I have learned? I mean, given how again I have handled CAS, probably the most important thing that I have learned is that, or at least one of the things that are arguably important that I should learn, is the fact that I should learn how to manage my time. Obviously, not only that, I have enjoyed learning a great many things. I have enjoyed learning how to, well, mostly edit, use software to edit stuff for my creativity and service, no, creativity and activity sections of CAS. I have learned how to edit audio, video, and pictures in order to, for example, make the memes that I made, and well, to make the video that you're watching right now as well, and to make audio for the theater, for example. Yeah, I have as well learned about a bit the world of theater, which I think is great. It is, well, I guess theater and slash or cinema are or is one of my passions. So I have, for example, learned a bit more about how, in general, it is made, which I think is great, because you may be able to recognize or know that I like to direct stuff, and at some point I wouldn't mind being like some well-known Hollywood director or something along those lines. So yes, obviously, a lot of the things that I have learned while doing CAS are important, and outside of that, yes, that I should really learn how to manage my time. Yeah, partially as well recognizable for the ones who know. This update is dropping a little bit later than it actually should. Yeah, the deadline was yesterday, and this is kind of today, which isn't great, but really shows you how bad the problem can be, I guess. So yes, at least recognizing that I have a problem is a good thing to learn, or the fact that I have learned that I have a problem is important. And yes, and certainly the thing that I find myself using the most from the things that I have learned, easily video editing. Yes. Otherwise, I still like playing music, and I still do, of course. It's not like me learning the piano or things where simply I'm playing in a band, where simply for the CAS project. Yeah. But yes, that which I find myself doing most from the things that I have learned in CAS is video editing. Yes, by far. Perhaps as well a bit of Photoshop, but yes, mostly video. What? Question number 3. What was the greatest challenge? The greatest challenge by me, I would say by far, what has really shown all of the things that I have learned is obviously, well, the video previous to this one. My actual CAS portfolio was arguably the most challenging thing that I have done in this whole CAS project / event, because I kind of used a little bit of everything that it is that I made. Partially, I had to edit audio, I had to edit video, obviously, in order to make the film or video. I played music, or at least pretended to play music during it. Yes. Well, I guess that another challenging thing within otherwise, probably the painting of my minifigurines. I guess it was not as challenging perhaps as it was time consuming, but calling it easy as well wouldn't really make it justice. A friend of mine hadn't been able to finish a single minifigure in over a year that he was working on. It might be a bit of an exaggeration because he did not give it time to work on during the whole. He was not. It's not so to speak that he was actively working on it throughout the whole year, but it took him over a year to finish it. So yes, to the point. I think the greatest challenge was indeed the making of the movie, or film, or video, because it is indeed what tested me. I feel the most. All of the other things that I made, I wouldn't say were not really challenges, but rather new experiences, I would say. I did not feel like they really tested me. Meanwhile, the making of my video, I think, really is the thing that I can certainly say tested my abilities, or what it is that I have learned from all of those CAS experiences that I had. Yeah. Easy, right? And now to the fourth and last question. what advice would I give to me or to a student similar to me that was younger than me and was just about to start with this whole CAS thing? I guess it's like asking if I had a time machine and could go back in time, what advice would I give myself? All right, so regarding the advice that I would give myself, or to another student similar to me, obviously to really find out a way how to manage my time efficiently, because I am certainly not good at that. I wasn't when I started with CAS, and I still kind of am not to this day, which is a bad thing. And I know that I have to fix it. And perhaps having future me tell me that I have to fix it would be a great way to get me to focus more on fixing it. Yes. Very good. So that's certainly a piece of advice I would give myself. Otherwise, regarding my experiences with the whole casting, I have been told by my supervisor that arguably, absolutely every experience that I have presented in some way or another is creativity. Meaning, oh, okay, so you did this for creativity, sure, that's creativity. You did this for activity, where I did, what was it, theater, and arguably as well the CAS, no, the Besuchswoche, right? And well, at least, well, my main selling point for activity was a theater thing, and that which I had to do for theater. I think my memory is not the freshest of that anymore. But yes, theater. In theater, I was both an actor and I was a sound designer, and musician. So, obviously the most physical thing was being an actor or part of the crew that actually had some sort of role within the play, and which I was one of, in some way or another. So obviously you could say that this is creativity. You could also say, well, given how I was not the director of the play, that I was just following orders. Which would obviously not make it arguably not make it a creative thing. So it's one, if it were to be completely a creative thing, that would mean that I 100% acted not how the director told me, but how I thought I would have to act. Meaning that if anything, what the director would have told me were merely suggestions, if that was the case. But well, on the other hand, if it was completely non-creative, that would mean that I followed everything that the directors told me that I should do. Which in this specific case, I like to think that I did do what the director told me to do, and not something that I invented myself, and then the director implemented because he liked it. Although, of course, that wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing if that happened. Yes, so what's the point that I am trying to get at here? The point that I am trying to get at is that because of how my activities and service was made or designed or experienced, it could be said that they intertwine with the different fields of CAS. In this case, supposedly everything is intertwined with creativity, which in the worst case scenario is a very big issue, because in the worst case scenario we would end up with a bunch of experiences in creativity, or that the supervisors think is creativity. And again, in the worst case scenario, we would have zero activity and zero service, because all of the things that I made for activity and service, guess what? It gets labeled, creative experience. And then I kind of miss 2/3 of the whole point that CAS is. But obviously, or at least I like to think to myself that, well, for the service part where I played music, arguably not creative because I'm reading notes. It's not like I made my own music for the pieces of music that we ended up playing as a band. Activity, at least, being an actor, or like I also helped like to set up the stage, set up lights. It's not like I was only an actor. No, everyone within theater had at some point multiple roles that probably included physical activity, and of course, being an actor of oneself can be a physical activity as well. Well, for example, there was at some point a scene where I would be required to climb up stuff, that obviously being a physical activity, while still being in the role of an actor in that case. So yes, advice I would give myself: make sure that your different activities, be it creativity, activity, or service, make sure that they are focused. Because again, worst case scenario, if they intertwine, you might end up having an activity that the supervisors really think belongs in creativity, and vice versa, or creativity that the supervisors thinks belongs in service, and then you end up with no creativity and lots of stuff in service and stuff like that. And you really want to have at least a couple of experiences or activities in each of the fields. So you want some creativity, you want some activity, and you want some service. So have them be focused so that you certainly have something in each field of CAS. Yes, that's certainly part of the advice I would give myself. Okay, so that concludes this. If you like this video, be sure to give it a like somewhere down there. Feel free to subscribe, ring the notification bell so that you get notified every time that I make a new video. And Well, I hope to see you next time, whenever it is that I make another video. Huh? So, see ya. Have a nice day. Goodbye. You can leave now. Feel free to leave. Really, I'm not forcing you to stay here. Seriously, it's not like I can see through your computer camera or anything. Really, you're completely free to go on scrolling through YouTube or simply going to a new web page. Otherwise, feel free to simply turn off whichever device you're using to see this. Okay, I really appreciate that you say that for me. It's it makes me happy that despite me saying multiple times goodbye, you still have decided to remain here. If you wanna hang out, I'm usually around the CAS from Monday to Friday. Yeah, so you can go there, see if you get to see me. Otherwise, I want to talk about something. As of lately, I've kind of gotten into cars. I would say that one of my favorite cars is certainly that supercar that showed up at one of the Fast and Furious movies, the Lika or Likan Hypersport. That's a car that I think is very cool, or was very cool. I have it in memory that at least I thought it was very cool, and still think. I think I don't really exactly remember how it looks like, but it was certainly the first car that I think was definitely my favorite. Before that, maybe some Lamborghinis otherwise. Um, okay. As of right now, I have run out of things to speak about. I'm sure at some point I will be able to find more, but yeah, I think this is enough for now. Huh? Alright, be seeing you. Huh? Cut. Right, that's probably